different day. Hey, these things happen. Life gets in the way. It's international break, so we all have lives. We make plans, and yeah, we just didn't have time to do one on Wednesday, but it's very important to us. So we're getting one out this week because international break is done. I can taste the football action. I'm very excited. And with me, chowing down on some weekend football action now that international break is done, it's my co-host. As always, just the two of us this evening. It's Mark Ryman. How are we getting on, Mark?
Yeah, excited for football to be back, as you said. God, it lasts a long time. Well, at least we had one entertaining England game to watch. One absolutely drab one, but I have to say I missed that, so that was all right. But yeah, very much looking forward to football restarted again, especially when rest of the league or some of the rest of the league is playing. It makes it even worse, I think, doesn't it?
It does. I don't even know why we had international break, because you need three players to get a game called off, and we had four when international break was announced. We had Tahith Chong, we had he did well for Curacao, though.
Masterclass.
Yeah, I know. Who would have thought playing a bunch of Bermudan plumbers?
Hey,
and
one of those is Naki Wells. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Although
So
I hope for their sake he wasn't
Wells,
playing in central defence. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Naki Wells, George Saville, and who was the other one?
Nakamba, Marv.
Marv Nakamba. Yeah, one of those players
Regular.
not even at the club.
What are you talking about? Regular.
Nakamba might as well not be at the club. Wells is like a backup striker. Gabode could have filled in on that 7-man bench, and then the only man we would have missed would have actually been Saville. So I think to avoid the early season fixture pileup, it would have actually made sense had we actually just gone ahead and played. And we have so many defensive midfielders, even with Saville and Nakamba out. We could have just gone ahead and played it.
It does make me laugh at this point. You just imagine like Nakamba laying on the treatment table, and then the phone call from Zimbabwe. Straight away he's off on the plane, gone 90 minutes. Gone. No problem, mate. No problem.
Yeah.
He's been fine the whole time. Yeah. Yeah, in some ways, definitely. I think there is a case, considering we signed, 14 players in the end, and a record amount on deadline day, that we probably did need the extra week. As frustrating as it was, and especially it meant that we had the Barnet game to play a stronger squad that we wouldn't have been able to do, right, if there was a game on the Saturday. So there's positives, but yeah, particularly seeing some of the positives in Barnet, I didn't want to wait another week and a half for another game. But here it is, and hopefully some of the exciting stuff that happened in the first half against Barnet we see again against Plymouth at home on Saturday.
But to play devil's advocate, at this time of the season, momentum is key, and you need that momentum to sort of keep the minutes in the legs. Yeah, you can have behind closed doors friendlies, get minutes into Mengi's legs, Lockyer's legs, possibly. Well, Lockyer's probably off doing punditry, God knows who. I think he was doing Bristol Rovers punditry. It's so crucial this time of the season, and I worry that we won't be fully at the races, whereas Plymouth played last week and they've had a whole week off. I worry that we're going to be a slow start. We'll talk about the Plymouth game a little bit later, but that does worry me. It does worry me, and I think we should have just gone ahead and done it. It wasn't like we were missing really crucial players, with the exception of Saville. And even then, you got Fanny. He can do a job at defensive midfield. You got Jordan Clark can do a job at defensive midfield. Got Cal Naismith. He can do a job at defensive midfield. He can probably do exactly the same thing as George Saville, throw in really ill-advised tackles. Yeah. Just he's less ginger than Saville. That's really it. But Naismith could have put in any request for any type of colour hair he wanted.
Yeah, I think Saville's probably been our best player of the season so far, if I'm being honest.
Yes.
But all right, yeah, yeah. Look, I actually
Yeah, but
prefer.
I'm just saying
I
Naismith could
agree
have
with
done
you.
the job. Could
Yeah,
have done.
I agree. I actually, at the moment, I think I prefer Naismith in that role, and I have him as less centre back. But yeah, I get that worry, and it's a legitimate one. I know in Luton we'd have got 3 extra injured players, but yeah, I think there's a bit of both, isn't there? And I get your trepidation about going in cold against a team that's, managed to turn their form around and win in the cup and score 4 goals against Stockport. Yeah, absolutely. Completely get that. And, at home as well, despite some of the more promising performances, some of the more promising performances this season, apart from the cup game, have been away from home as well. So, yeah, I get that, and I share some of that a little bit as well, if I'm honest. Hope that some of the shackles are off, and we have a little bit more. We have a little bit more confidence going forward now with the players that we've got there with some minutes in the legs. But yeah, slow start's going to be worrying against Plymouth, because they are a pretty quick team, and they will look to punish us. So yeah, we'll have to see. Swings and roundabouts, but again, at least we haven't got any extra injured players, which makes a change, especially on international break. That's the one advantage of only having one first teamer out, is they can't get injured, and he only played 15 minutes in 2 games.
Yeah, but there are still plenty of injuries to talk about.
There's a few.
We're going to talk about that after international break. Just a quick hello to everyone watching. It's talking about slow starts. This live stream has gotten off to a slow start. Everyone, get your comments in. I understand we're not doing this on the regular day. Normally it's a Wednesday. We're doing it on a Thursday. Normality will resume from next week. As with all the post-match phone-ins, well, the Sunday night club, as I like to call it, but that got vetoed straight away because there already is a Sunday night club apparently. Post-match reactions and other bits and bobs as they come up. Plenty of content, and lots of live streams. Hi, good evening, Phil. And Steve Moore says, did Blackpool end up with enough players to get the game called off? I don't know. I think it's just if one team has 3.
Yeah, it's just one, isn't it?
Yeah. So we got it called off. Which I don't know.
Be the same as the Huddersfield game, I'm assuming. So, but I think the Huddersfield game falls under the next international break, depending on how. But it'll be the same. I imagine it'll be the same problem then, because they played, didn't they? So.
Yeah. Well, it depends how many international call-ups we have. Maybe Marv will be injured by then, but doesn't matter. He could have a broken leg. He'll still get up and go.
You're not for He will be 90 minutes for Zimbabwe. You worry about that. Yeah.
To be honest, at the pace that game is played, you could play that with 2 broken legs. The state of that football, it's absolutely atrocious. But never mind. I don't think Zimbabwe are getting anywhere. I don't think they have a chance of qualifying for the World Cup, so that won't be a problem. So it really limits how much football Marv can play. But talking about international break, we mentioned Tahith Chong bagging a brace for Netherlands T and an assist. Oh, yeah, fair play to him. Sheffield United have a right old player on their hands there. I noticed Dick Advocat was the manager of Curacao. And I had a
nice gig. That's a nice gig. And I know, right? Retirement gig. Ooh, yeah. Well, he's done a McLaren, hasn't he? Clearly, right.
Oh yeah. Who wouldn't want to live in a tropical paradise?
Wow.
And it looks like he's tempted over a lot of essentially the Netherlands rejects, like players like Tahith Chong, Jurgen Locadia, because you just need a Dutch nationality, really, I think, and. Yeah, it's good enough for Curacao. They've actually got a very tidy squad when you compare it to Bermuda. Funny story, I think I've told you this before. One of my former co-workers at my old company, her husband played for the Bermuda national team.
Nice.
Yeah. He's just a regular guy. I took him to Luton Spurs 2 seasons ago. I didn't even know he'd played
international football.
International football. He was never a professional.
Doesn't have to say professional. I was going to say not professional.
He also played cricket for them.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's a much higher bar. To be fair, you end up playing cricket in the West Indies. They're despite the fact they're not the West Indies of the 80s, it's still a much higher bar to play cricket than it is football. I think is fair to say.
Well, it's a very limited sporting pool of players that are available. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, and then the old fellow Asgards notching 4 goals for Norway
Yeah,
against Armenia. Wow. Oh no, it was only Armenia, wasn't it? It was very nice of Erling Haaland letting him have a penalty to seal his hat trick, but he didn't really need it, did he? So yeah.
Well, look, fair play to him. I don't hold any ill will with him. I don't. Look, I think he's playing for a big club that are no longer in Europe, so they get to boss around 99% of the rest of the Scottish League, apart from Celtic, who they lose to. Although they did draw, actually, it was a 0-0, wasn't it? But yeah, fair play. But
it's not all right gig. All right gig playing Scottish football, isn't it?
Bit cold though. Bit cold.
Oh,
it's a bit chilly, especially at those especially playing somewhere like Dundee. No thanks, not in the winter.
It's
he's from Norway. Maybe he's probably a bit harder about the cold than I would be. He's from
when you're from Scandinavia,
exactly,
it doesn't really bother you because you in the winter you see maybe like an hour of sunlight if you're lucky, depending on how far north you are.
Yeah.
It's not so
exactly.
bad. Yeah, but believe me, it can get very, very, very grim up north in Scotland. I know. I lived there. I lived in the southern part of Scotland for like.
You lived in Edinburgh. I mean, most people count that as England, don't they?
It was very English. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Glaswegians certainly count it as England.
Oh, most definitely. But I think that's enough international break stuff. Yeah, I don't. Anything else took your eye from international break? Like England, I didn't bother watching England, to be honest. Only watch England out of in tournaments now.
No, I don't. I didn't make a point of it. It was on. I was like, oh, it's on. It's Tuesday night. There's nothing else on. I'll stick it on. And I was pleasantly surprised considering how poor apparently we were in the first game with the 2-0. I didn't watch that. Yeah, I thought we played some good football, and there's some really exciting players. Morgan Rogers looked fantastic. And there are a few other players there that I think are going to come through, and yeah, it could be exciting. But we said that before. We've got lots and lots of talent in the pool playing when Southgate was there. So we'll see, right? Like you say, it doesn't matter until we hit the tournament. We're pretty much qualified now, so that's out of the way. We can forget the rest of the international breaks and just carry on with league football now. That'd be nice.
I do think with Thomas Tuchel, he knows how to get through tournaments. So that's pretty much all I'm excited for, really. What Kate's saying in the comments, England looks so much better. I wouldn't know. I didn't watch it. But
it was very good. Yeah, it was very good.
The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in how we perform at the tournaments, because we've seen so many tournaments where, well, under Southgate, we did well to get to the finals, but essentially it's just choking at the final opportunity. Like, I was chatting to an Italian bloke, and naturally you talk about football, and he was like, I still don't know why England stopped playing in the 6th minute.
Oh, I'm Southgate, for me, had the same issues that Edwards had at points, in that his in-game tactics were absolutely woeful for me. I don't mind some of his approaches. I thought the way that he changed the media approach to the England team was amazing. I think he did some great things in the first couple of years, but when the chips were down, he just didn't have the nous to make the in-game changes. I mean, the amount of times we should have won something. I mean, the Italy Euros is the one that really still irks, because that's ridiculous that we didn't win that game. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, like you say, we'll see how we get on in the summer. Hey, at least it's in the summer and not in the bloody winter again. That'll be nice.
Oh, that was depressing. Oh God, that was like, you go to the pub and everyone's like just sitting in the beer garden, like,
it's not a World Cup. It's not a World Cup. Sorry.
It was woeful. It was absolutely woeful. And it was still bloody hot over there in Qatar. So
they had to put air conditioning in outside stadiums. Brilliant.
No
Yeah.
beer, no beer allowed. Like, you can only drink in designated fan zones.
Right. Yeah.
Woke nonsense. But never mind. Never mind. Did you see that? Just before we go on,
Sorry, you can't call Qatar woke. I'm afraid that is like
Okay.
the opposite of
I was going to say
Qatar.
utter woke nonsense, but it's not. Did you
Right.
see that video from the Qatar World Cup of those two random scousers that ended up going to like
Yeah,
a sheik's house and playing with his tigers?
it's
That was
insane, isn't
weird.
it? It's like one of those
Yeah,
nights that get out of hand. Yeah, exactly. Yes, I did see
yeah,
that. It's mental, but
absolutely mad.
yeah,
Madness. But anyway, talk about the injury news. So, to summarize, Ruel Walters, he's had a setback. Surprise, surprise. You know, our physio room, working him over, hammer and tongs. Bam, bam. How's that feeling, Ruel? Like rip his leg backwards. Oh, I don't think these are meant to bend that way. And Nakamba, apparently he's ready. Can you believe
oh,
it,
he's
Ryan?
ready.
He's ready.
He's ready. Yeah, yeah. I mean, not for Luton, obviously, but he's ready. Yeah. If we see him in a Luton shirt again, I'll be very surprised. I'm just saying it now. I really will
Yeah,
be.
I
Unless
think
you're counting like
yeah.
under 21 games for 30 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah, he'll turn up for like
Yeah.
45 minutes. I just think the pace doesn't suit him because I think when we played Cardiff and a lot of the games I've seen with the teams that will be at the top ends, they're played at a pace, like sort of a championship pace. And I don't think Marv has that ability to play at that pace. He could prove me wrong. Like Savills managed to dictate tempo from deep. But ultimately, when you look at our defensive midfield, because we now play with a 6 and 2 8s,
That's right. Yeah.
I see it as it's it's George Saville, then probably Liam Walsh or Lamine Fanny. Jordan Clark can play that position as well. The Naismith can play that position. Then I would say it's
Marv.
Nakamba, mainly because I don't think he's into it. He's not feeling it.
Yeah, I agree. I just, Kate's producer Kate has said the same thing. Unless we get lots of injuries, we won't see Marvin the team. I completely agree. For lots of reasons. For what you just said, I agree. I think he's way back in the pecking order, and I don't think he really wants to play for Luton. And what Bloomfield said, finally, it's being said in the press conference for this game is that, he said by and large we managed to get rid of all of the players that didn't want to play for us. He didn't say that word for word, but he pretty much said that. And he basically said with a couple of exceptions, we know who those couple of players are. And for that reason, just regardless of ability, that's him done for me.
Should we have paid him off though? Should we have negotiated a payoff?
I guess it depends on how much he's involved in kind of the squad and the dressing room and how much of a negative figure he is. Now, I can't imagine Marv, the person that he is in terms of, we all know the charity work that he does and he comes across as a thoroughly nice bloke. So it's not like the Chong situation, perhaps. So I can't imagine him having that much of a negative impact. I mean, yeah, you could pay him off. It doesn't financially make any difference to us if we do that. And there'll be plenty of clauses to make sure that, we don't pay him a reduced fee or whatever else. I'm sure there will be. We know how difficult it was to buy him. The reason it was such a delay is that there was this argument in the payoff between him and Villa and his agent. So I imagine they put something similar in his contract again. So
he's playing a blinder. His agent has played a blinder. My God.
Yeah, well, I suppose you look at it and go from Aston Villa to a League One team in 2 years. It depends how you look at it, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. In terms of contracts, he certainly has. I mean, I don't see the harm necessarily. It depends on what his personality's like. But we all know that he doesn't want to stay at the club. So, is it useful having him around? Yeah, probably not. You could probably argue the same thing with the other one, which of course is Ted and Mengi, and it depends on what his attitude's going to be now between now and January as to whether he gets a game as well. But I bet you'll mention him in a second because that was some more positive injury news when it came to him.
Yeah, so Tedden's apparently almost ready, and we're going to get some behind closed doors games, get some minutes into his legs. He's one because he's still young. What is he, 21, 22? He's young. Like the complete opposite end of the scale to Marv. Marv couldn't give a shit. Ted and Mengi has his whole career ahead of him now. Like Marv, if he's lucky, gets one more contract. Tedden, if he turns it on and impresses in the 4 months until January or however months, we're in September, 3 months, he plays blinder, he could get a move to the Championship or bottom half Premier League, because there were rumblings that he could have gone to Burnley. And as well, like, these teams could pick up Tedden at a sort of knockdown price. And by all accounts, Man United allegedly have a 40% sell-on, which I've heard otherwise from someone in the know. But regardless, still, we barely paid a penny for Tedden. So to be honest, anything we sell him for is pretty much profit. He's just got to show. He's got to show that he wants to get that move. Play for the move.
Yeah, we've been here before, though, haven't we? I mean, I agree with the logic, but we said exactly the same thing at the end of the transfer window this time last year, and look how that panned out. So, I have to see it to believe it with him. That we know how good he was in the Premier League. For me, he's flattered to deceive since then, either because he just doesn't want it enough. He just doesn't look as interested. His positional play has been appalling. His distribution has been is tantamount to hoofball at times. He's nothing like when I've, at least, in most of the games in the Championship, he's nothing like the player that he was. So yeah, I agree. He needs to step it up, but there's a hell of a long way to go to convince me that he will. I hope I'm wrong, because we're going to need those defensive options now McGuinness is gone. And actually, if he plays anywhere near as good as he was in the Premier League, then we've got the best central defender in the league by a country mile. Whatever people think about Osho, but yeah, it's a big if, isn't it? And it's an if that we've talked about before. So yeah,
it's time to see the attitude. It's time to see if he has a good attitude and doesn't sort of bend to that Man United academy product attitude that we've sort of grown accustomed to Heath Chong, and what we've seen from every Man United academy product that's pretty much come out over the past decade, where they think they're God's gift. And
was Ryan Tunnicliffe Man United youth?
He was, but I liked Ryan Tunnicliffe.
Yeah, I was going to say,
hard worker. He had very little footballing ability. He came through with Ravel Morrison and Paul Pogba. But he was a hard worker.
He put in that blinder against Man United in the cup, I seem to
remember. Yeah, that was his greatest performance in a Luton shirt. Yeah, that was a good performance.
He scored a pretty important goal for us against Borough at the Riverside, I think, as well.
He did.
1-0 win. Yeah.
Were you at that game?
I was not at that game. I've never been to the Riverside, actually. No, that is a lot. I mean, that is far north to go. It's technically Yorkshire, but it's,
But you're far north.
Right, just for everybody's knowledge, not as if it's not been said before, I live in the East Midlands. Midlands is the
southeast.
Middle.
You're in the southeast.
No. Your work schedule is all over the place. It's Nottingham is not in the southeast, and it's not up north either. But anyway, look, we're not going to do geography, but Middlesbrough is really up north, very, very North Yorkshire. But
interestingly, I remember exactly where I was when Ryan Tunnicliffe scored that goal. I was watching it on a perfectly legal stream, obviously, and I was changing a toilet seat, so I was right underneath a toilet trying to unscrew the tightest nut and bolt ever. And I remember when he scored, anyway, the toilet seat just came flipping, popped straight off, because I went, yay!
There you go.
Yeah, easy peasy.
Horrible job that.
Job's a good one.
In it. Horrible job. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I just moved into that flat at the time as well, so it was particularly grim. It was a toilet seat that we hadn't used.
Don't paint me a picture, please. Please. Right, keep going. We've got more injury news.
Yeah, we got more injury news. So Mads is back. apparently.
Yay.
Yeah, for how long? Who knows? But I think it's good. Personally, I prefer Mikoso in the middle because I like having pace all the way across the back line, to be honest. But I guess if Mads plays in the middle with Longwick and Mikoso, it could work, couldn't it? But I don't think
So
having Mads and McGuinness would have worked. You can't play them both together.
No, I agree with that. I think Mads in the middle will work. I like Mikoso. Obviously he's right-footed, so right or in the middle. I think he played in the middle, didn't he, against Barnet in the game, in the cup game. And then you're saying Longwick on the left. Obviously, it could be Cal on the left-hand side as well. Either or, I suppose. Cal being left-footed, Longwick's right-footed, I think, isn't he?
Yep, only plays exclusively on the left though.
Well, yeah, that's classic Luton, isn't it? But he plays exclusively not in his position most of the time. But when he's played at a centre back, wherever it's been across that line, particularly sort of on the right hand side, I think he's looked great. But yeah, I'm pleased to see Anderson back. I think I just hope he gets a run of games. I really, really hope he gets a run of games because
he needs to.
Because it just otherwise it's going to have the it's going to have the same problem as we've had already with Baptista's season, in that he just starts to look the part that we finally get in the player we thought we might be getting, and he's down with an injury again. So yeah, his performance against Peterborough really gave me hope for his future at the club and I would put him straight back in if it was me.
Yeah. Well, I do hope he makes it, because otherwise he goes down as like another multi-million-pound flop. Just more proof that we can't spend money well. I hope it works out for him. I really do. And the final bit of injury news, I don't think I've missed any. I think it's Tom Holmes has a man of the match performance for Rotherham, does his knee. Pretty much in the same game. He's out for like 9 weeks. So he's come back to Luton for a bit of therapy, meaning if his leg isn't completely ruined, it will be by the time he returns back to Rotherham, because we'll be doing all the we'll be putting that leg to work, like Walls of Jericho, that type of stuff for any old time wrestling fans. It's time for your therapy, Tom Holmes.
Yeah. You know what? Luton Town is the reason I don't ever go for sports massages. It terrifies the life out of me, this idea that I'm just going to end up with getting like an ACL. But it's funny. I saw the social media reaction. Or it's not funny. I do feel sorry for him, but I saw the social media reaction. He after that game and after the news came out from Rotherham, and their fans were saying, "Oh, this club is cursed." And I thought, well, I reckon Luton fans would be saying the same thing. So it's like a double curse. He didn't stand a chance. If Rotherham injure their players at the rate we do as well, I mean, yeah, that is a match made in, well, not the opposite, hell, I suppose, in terms of injury. Yeah, I feel for him actually, because I think that was a decent move for him to get his career back on track. He's still pretty young, isn't he, Tom Holmes? He's still pretty
25,
young. Yeah. I think League One's, or that sort of end of League One's, probably his level, and he could do all right. So yeah, feel bad for the guy. Obviously, we've still got all of the injuries that we had previously as well, and I think Bloomfield has updated the same sort of thing. We're probably looking at November before we see any of those that are currently out back.
Jacob Brown, forgot about him.
Yeah, including Jacob
easy
Brown,
one to forget. Yeah.
He's
made the registration list. I'm looking at the squad registration, and care to take a guess at who's missed out from the 19 senior players?
Yeah, Baptiste, I know, has not been registered, has he?
He has not been registered, but Elijah Adebayo has.
Yes, which I thought was interesting, considering we haven't, but we have another chance, don't we, in the season to re-register over. So I don't really understand that. So he's definitely not going to be back until the back end of the season. So it surprises me.
I was told March. I was told he'd be back in March.
Okay,
but that's at the same time, we have a lot of youths that have been registered, 30 in total. amongst that list, you got Chigozie, who's already played and has done very well, could do a job filling in, across the back line. Joseph Gabot, Taylan Harris, although he's registered for Tranmere, I thought. Kajua, he doesn't need to be registered. Joe Johnson, he'll be back in November. He's registered.
Of course, JJ. Yeah,
Yeah.
forgot about JJ.
Chris Makoso, Zach Nelson gets on that list as well. Josh Phillips, but I think he's actually on loan at Torquay. Jake Richards. We need to see more of Jake Richards, in my opinion, and Ruel Waters. Best part of this is you see all their middle names. Some absolute belters in there.
Yeah, stick them on the shirts. That's what we want.
I love that. The fact that Zach Nelson has Amika in his middle name makes me think of Amika Nawajobi. A very, very good Luton Town player from the 80s, and also a very good pharmacist now, I believe.
Okay, well, there you go. That's an interesting career move. I was thinking if we ended up putting the full names of players on their shirts, can you imagine how big a shirt Adebayo would have to wear? That'd be some
font,
shirt.
The font size.
Size
you wouldn't be able to see it. Yeah, it would be tiny. It would be crazy. I feel for Tom Holmes. When I saw the news, I was like, you can take the boy out of Luton, but you can't take the Luton out of the boy. It's a real shame.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's not played, has he? He's not played barely any football, and I think that's the problem he get thrown in for. Did he play the full 90 as well for Rotherham that on his debut as well? So
injured right at the end as
there
well.
you go. That's part of the risk, I guess, isn't it? But yeah, shame. Definite shame.
Okay, so looking ahead to the Plymouth game. So Plymouth are coming off the back of a 4-2 smashing of Stockport. It was a tighter game. It wasn't a smashing, but they've beaten the Hatters last week. Coming up against the Hatters this week, this time away from home. Do you think it's going to be... We discussed it a little bit at the beginning. Do you think it's going to be easy breezy, or do you think it's going to be a tough battle?
I don't think it's going to be easy. No, I think it would... I'd be crazy to think otherwise. I mean, look, we know that Tom Cleverley wants to get the wood over Luton and for everything else, and they've just found some form. I think they're going to come out of the traps pretty quickly. They've got a quick team as well. I do think we'll win. I'll save predictions till the end, but I do think we'll win. And I think that it will probably take us, as you alluded to as well, and kind of the point you were making. I do think it'll take us a good sort of 20 minutes if we're not careful. And it's just that, what damage they can do in that particular time before we get back, or sort of before we get into the game. For me, it happened against Cardiff, right? They just took control of the game, and before we knew it, they were banging on the door. And yes, then we got back into the game. We did have chances. But from that moment on, really, they did control the game. So it's just about then, how we respond, really. So yeah, I wouldn't say, I'm really worried about it. I think we've had 7 goals in 2 games. Admittedly, one of them is against a pretty poor Barnet side, but still 7 goals. All our attacking players, bar Naki Wells, now found the back of the net. So there's some real. I think there'll be goals, and I think I would back at least a couple from Luton. I'd be very surprised if Plymouth don't get at least one as well. So yeah, I think it'll be an exciting game. I don't think maybe the 4-2 against Stockport has kind of made me think that as well. But there's been goals in a lot of their games. I mean, they lost against Cardiff 4-0, didn't they? But so and their defense is pretty shaky by all accounts as well. So there'll be goals in it. It'll be exciting, but hopefully, not too exciting, if that makes sense. That's what I expect. I think they'll come out.
Oh well, everyone, get your predictions in the comments. We want to see them all. Kate says 2-0 to the Hatters. Come on, your Hatters. Okay. Oh, she's revised it to 8-1.
Wow.
I think there are going to be goals. I think 4-2 to Luton. I think that's a bit eccentric, but it depends. I think Kajua starting on the right wing, I think he could be really, really key, because Sorinola is a good player, but he's not the like
He's gonna
Kajua.
have.
Like pace is not a big part of Kajua's game, is it? He just
Well, I
sort of
don't know.
waltzes past players.
I think
That's
he's
what I
pretty
saw.
quick.
He's
I
he's quick. Don't get me
honestly
wrong.
think.
He's quick. He's
Mm,
quick, but his feet, the
yeah,
way he moves his feet, and it's the little like 2 yard pace where he just sort of puts the afterburners on and he just corners someone. It's absolutely tremendous, whatever the term is.
yeah.
He
So
just dances between players.
are you thinking Kajua's going to start then?
I think he will start, and I think Shaden Morris will come on to
Yeah, I
absolutely put the
agree.
fear of God into
Yeah, I agree.
Sorinola. Because I Aberdeen fans were saying Shaden Morris was best off the bench, and we saw that against
He was. He
Barnet
was.
and then some.
Quite,
I think at the time I messaged the group we have, and I said I felt really bad for their left back, and they took him off because he was roasting their left wing back or their left centre back, and then they took him off, and then the other left centre back that came on gave away a penalty because Shaden
immediately.
Morris just completely roasted him
He
over
just
and
sort
over
of
again.
just stopped and went boom, straight past him.
He
Yeah, well, look,
could have won
I,
2 penalties.
I mean, on the right hand side, look, I mean, I know that we've had issues, or various different complaints about not necessarily recruiting for a system, etc. And I overall, I'm quite happy with the transfer window, but I understand where some of the misgivings are around left back, right back. But there is one thing to say. I mean, if we think about how poor the right hand side has been over probably the last season and a half, right? I think it's fair. You know, desperately calling out for someone on the right to match Doughty or whoever's playing there. Well, it was Doughty unless he was injured. And look at it now. I mean, embarrassment of riches on that side. We've got Kadur, who I think looks like a really exciting player who will be excellent if we are able to sign. Excellent player, and can find a cross as well. Another thing, we've finally got wingers or wing backs, whatever you want to call them, who have got a final product about them as well. So
And they get into the box as well.
get into
Like
the
we saw
box.
that Bradford.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Get into the box, and then you've got Shaden Morris, who I still maintain, and it was only on telly, I wasn't there, but from the telly and initial signs, is still the fastest player I think I've seen there. Faster than Beno, I think. But it's a coin flip, but yeah, incredible. And
We
that's
need to
really
see
exciting.
more of him. We need to
Of
see more
course.
of him. We never really even got to see the best of Ogbene in terms of top speed. I was there for that Fulham game where he was chasing after a ball that looked completely lost, and he just ran towards us and was vroom, and he just got in front of, I think it was Anthony Robinson. I'm not even
Was that
sure
the last
who.
game of the season?
No,
Are we
no, no.
referring
It
to,
was
or the
like one
one
of the
away?
first ones. It was the one
Yeah, away. I
away
was there
early
as well.
on.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
there
Oh,
too. I remember it
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Just
saw you before the game actually, thinking
Oh,
about
yeah,
let's
yeah,
do a
a
brief
long
chat
time
for the game.
ago.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah, a
a
long
while.
time ago. Yeah.
Jordan Clark was on crutches in the stands. I remember now.
Oh, yeah, I
Yeah.
got a picture with him. Yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Football friends. Yeah. Yeah.
Football
Football.
friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was obviously the game against Dan Burn, but to be honest, I'd look very quick against Dan Burn. It's not difficult. But we didn't really see the best of him. We didn't see the top speed of him. Whereas Shaden Morris, it's early days yet.
It
We'll
is.
see more. We'll see more. And also the Kenny pitch is very small, but hopefully with these wing backs, him and Ali can play far enough upfield so that initial burst over 10 yards is the burst of
Yeah.
speed to get past the defender and into the box, because these two can win lots and lots of penalties for us,
For
and that's a case
me,
of who takes them.
yeah. For me, the one thing that Bloomfield has to do, and maybe this needs to be an improvement, or maybe it's just now we've got more players in the squad, is be a bit bolder, and say that you are playing to our tempo. We're going to go out and play our way regardless of the opposition, and not and therefore Ali. If we're playing that system, which we probably will be, considering we haven't bought any fullbacks, then we're playing a 3-1-4-2. Yeah, that's right. I think. Yeah. So then they're wingers and they're not wing backs, and that's it. Like they did against Barnet. So I know we did it against Barnet, and we pretty much did it against Burton as well. we have to do that against teams, all teams for me, pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're not being flexible completely, but that's where they need to be. They need to be, like you said, in the opponent's half of the pitch, and then we will score goals. There's just no doubt about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually looked at FotMob, and that is the exact formation that they put on 3-1-4-2. So as you say, you want those fullbacks I push way up. It's a shame because Bramwell had a good game against Barnet, but I think in this current guise, I reckon Ali keeps him out.
Yeah, me too. But there's nothing wrong with a bit of depth, especially one thing we were crying out for and worried about is that on the left-hand side, there's no depth. If we play Ali as a winger and forget about the 5 and just play 3 defenders, then that alleviates that problem a bit. And like you say, Bramwell had a great game, and that free kick is fantastic.
Yeah.
But so, and again though, Ali tires, you put Bramwell on, then you've got that option, and apparently I think Shaden Morris can play either side, I think left or right.
Oh,
I think he's right
yes,
winger, but I think he can play left as well, so you've got, there's your option as well. So whichever side, him coming on either side is going to be pretty dangerous. So yeah, I feel like we've got some exciting attacking players. We just got to make sure that they're playing in the opposition's half of the pitch.
Yeah, we can start to see what Bloomfield is about. Attacking football. That is what Wickham did. He utilised Onyeka Didmer a lot. He made Richard Kone the player he is now, and I'm excited. And I feel Doughty going is good because we were heavily reliant on Afi Doughty to create pretty much everything. Whereas now we got the wingers that can do it, or the wing backs who are playing as wingers. We have 2 8s who can do it. Zach Nelson, he can create, and Jake Richards looked like he could create, but at the same time, you have options. Jordan Clark can create, but maybe it will start being a case of Jordan Clark getting phased out, getting swapped out with others potentially. I'd like to see a bit of Lamine Fanny, not as an 8, maybe as an 8. I don't know.
Yeah, but where else is he playing that system? I think, or does he play the deeper role?
I would think he'd play as a deeper role to sort of control the tempo. Does he have enough experience to control the tempo? I'm not entirely sure.
I like the idea of Lamine Fanny bursting through the lines, and that's what he does really well. I still think that it's Saville's position until he's injured, but yeah, it's lots of options, like you say, and I'm really excited about Jake Richards as well. I mean, a really good game. Both him and Zach Nelson in the middle were excellent against Barnet, and Zach Nelson was very good against Burton as well. I think, for me, Jordan Clark still looks an absolute class above. I know there are times where he can be tentative and he doesn't always make the positive move, but I think, again, that's mentality hangover from those seasons. But he's surrounded by players now that want to push forward. I think that will suit him. He's already done things this season that you just have to smile when he turns players on their ass and they don't even know where the ball is. Only Jordan Clark can do that. So I would like to keep him in the side, and he can ping one as well. So it's always good players that both him and Zach Nelson can score goals from outside the box. Jake Richards, don't know whether that's, personally, I've not seen enough of him at Exeter to know whether that's his skill, but he did look fantastic and really mature way of playing against Barnet as well. That's what I was impressed with. What is he, 18? Just
turned 18.
Yeah, but he had a really he knew where, his positional sense was fantastic. He's going to be one hell of a player. I agree with you. I think we will see more of him, but he's slightly unlucky that we've got however many sort of midfielders that can do a similar thing. But I'm with you. I hope we see him, and therefore I hope we stay in the cup for as long as possible so we can get those minutes. Yeah, exciting, right? So,
and the average age of the squad has also been skewed down just a little bit as well, which you need. Like, you need that little bit of refresh, and then hopefully you can keep a core together moving forwards. I think Jake Richards is the long-term successor to Jordan Clark. I think that's the plan, because Jordan Clark, wrong side of 30. Mads still young?
I think he's younger than you think. He's younger. Maybe his legs are 60 years old. Maybe that is the issue.
I'm
But I
gonna look
feel
this
like
up.
Mads Anderson. Yeah, look it up. But I feel
Look
like
at-
Mads Anderson is younger than you
He's
think.
he's 27.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, there you go. Peak,
yeah.
peak of his career.
Entering
Exactly.
the
Yeah,
peak, isn't he? But
yeah.
we've sort
That's
of
it.
railed it with all the injuries.
Yeah, I
Like
know.
before joining
But
us, like the season before he joined us, he played 51 times for Barnsley.
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. We but look, I
poor
think
Max.
but I don't know. Hopefully we get some game time into him. I really have. I don't know. I have a good feeling about Mads this season. And look, you look across the team, unlike last season, and there's not really a weak link in there now. I mean, all the way from Keeley up to the top, and even with the, you know, the striker situation that a month ago we were tearing our hair out thinking about who's going to score, 10, 15 goals, let alone 20 goals a season for us in this league. Now, I honestly, he's had a slow start, understandably, but I'm a big fan of Jerry Yates. I still think he can do brilliant things. I've seen some of the way that his movement, his goal that he took against Barnet was proper. I think I said it at the time in our podcast. It really reminded me of Carlton Morris in that season when we went up,
Yeah.
which is obviously good news. We've
Mhm.
got Al Hamady, who, if he lives up to any of the potential that he had when he was at Wimbledon, and even when he was in the Championship with Ipswich, he was okay. He wasn't terrible. We know he's a good player. We've got goals.
Yeah.
We've got goals done, and of course Nordos, who's scored what, 3 and 3, 2 and 2, 2 and 2. I think I get ahead of myself. 2 and 2, but deserved a goal against Wigan. It's mental that he didn't score there, and he's a proper finisher as well. So
He's only
yeah,
going to get better, and he's
yeah,
young. He's young.
yeah,
Lassie's young. It's
really
it's
young.
it's mad. Yeah, yeah.
Really, it's like
There's so
21, isn't
much
he?
more.
21, 22.
I think he's 23, or he's just
Oh,
turned
okay.
23. But they're still young. They're still young for
Yeah.
a striker, and there's a lot of football left in those legs. Before we get on to the next section, a couple of comments. Kate says, "I don't want anyone but Bramall taking free kicks from now
Yeah. Yeah.
on."
Well, not if he puts that in.
Yeah, just
I
bring him
have.
on like a kicker in American football.
Yeah, he might be not playing against the same sort of quality of opposition, sadly, that will just let him have a free shot into the empty
No
half.
one was stopping that. No one
No,
was
that's
stopping. That
true.
was
That
so
is
good.
true. It was such a good free kick. I am not taking anything away from him at all. Great free kick. And it's nice. James Bree-esque.
Yeah. I like this comment from Steve Moore. Richards needs to be Clicker's teacher's pet. Follow him everywhere and learn from him. I don't think that's a bad shout.
No, in every
That's a
way,
good
his
shout.
attitude as well as anything else. I mean, Clicker for me, he's the one player that's come down from the Premier League, right? Who hasn't come down with a chip on his shoulder or an attitude that he needs to leave, that he's too good for the club, and he's never ever, never for a second come across like that. Regardless, that in
Yeah.
itself is everything that we need at the club.
Yeah, obviously it's damaged him. He's
It's
worked his
damaged his
way up
confidence,
through.
of course.
Yeah, yeah. Well, he's worked his way up. Grafted. He's such a grafter. He's such a lovely bloke, and he loves the club as well. And
Yeah,
he's grafted through the leagues. He's managed to, he's changed position as well, become a central midfielder, grafted, got to the Premier League, and then within 2 seasons he's back to League One, pretty much where he was with Accrington Stanley. I feel for the guy. Here's a hot take for you. Steve says, I think we'll be sat here in May saying Lassie is a vastly better player than Al Hamady.
right. That is a
That is a
big
hot
shout.
take.
I don't know. Look, I hope that we're both equally impressed with both, obviously, because they're very different players as well. I think they could complement each other very well too. Al Hamady's got a lot of class in looking after the ball as well, and Lassie's got a bit of learning to do in those respects. But yeah, good. I hope so. And if he keeps finding the back of the net, I'm more than happy to make the point. We'll see what Al Hamady we get and how much this injury is going to impact his kind of start into the season as well.
The thing I love about Nordos is just his and notice I've said it right. I love his unpredictability. And
Yeah, but like Adebayo, I don't think he knows.
yeah, well, Adebayo, I think he kind of does know. He's more like Enoch Shawomni.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. Fine. If you like, I love you, not Chauvelin.
Who
Yeah.
doesn't? Yeah.
Exactly. Well, yeah, no sane person, of course. Yeah, I know what you mean, but he is completely chalk and cheese sometimes. Like his control, his touch is a perfect example of that. But then I'd say Adebayo's like that as well. Like there was that clip doing the rounds of Adebayo in the Championship. I can't remember what game it was, where it just like came out of the sky and he just killed it dead.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god, this guy is like, and then
The goal against
sometimes just
Forest.
bounce off
Yeah.
him. Yeah,
But the
the
goal
goal
against
against
Forest as
Forest.
well, where chest
Oh my god!
perfectly
I was
weighted
there,
chest
obviously,
control.
round the corner. I was right in
Yeah.
front of it. Mental. Yeah, exactly. I think Nordas exactly the same. Sometimes he holds the ball up beautifully, and sometimes it bounces off him straight out of play. So, yeah, I think it's as you say, he's still young, he's still learning, and it's just refinement there. But yeah, it's really good to see him scoring goals. And I think with whoever, I think he's the one actually to keep his place and then rotate between Jerry Yates and Al Hamadi and Naki Wells. No, we're not even mentioned Naki Wells, but
That's a bold call right there. I think there's
I
going to be a
think
lot of changes in game. I think
yeah,
what Matt Bloomfield wants to get to is like take both strikers off and both wide men off, and just that's 4 changes. Like maybe change 3 of them and just see what needs to happen. It's a bold call as long as we don't end up like playing a 3-6-1 like we did against Barnet. That was
yeah.
woefully dire and negative.
I think it was also a case against Barnet of just trying to get minutes in legs when you're 3-0 up in a game. But yeah, I agree. It killed all of the momentum of the game and made it not exactly the spectacle you want to watch. He does it. We know he rotates because he did it at Wickham.
Mhm.
So you're right. Certainly the wingers. I can't see many games where Kadir will last 90 minutes or Morris or whoever he decides to start in that position, and maybe even Ali as well at one point. Yeah.
Yeah. Last question. Well, in the comments, Mason says Jordan Clark, club legends?
Yeah.
Question mark. Yeah.
I mean, club legend is difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't. As soon as you say legend, everyone starts like, well, he's Ricky Hill and names like that start coming. It's difficult in it comparing eras. But when you look at Jordan Clark's, he came to us in our 2nd season in the Championship, I think it was.
Yeah. That was a brilliant
The
transfer window.
the Keane and Dewsbury Hall season, which is a bit
Yeah.
unfair on Jordan Clark calling it that, but everyone knows what I'm talking about. And he's grown with us. It's a bit, it's a shorter version of what Pelly did, isn't it? Really grown with us and improved every season when we did. I don't know whether I'd quite go as far as club legend, but I love the guy. Absolutely love the guy. He does epitomise the mentality of Luton under Nathan Jones when we were in the Championship, punching way above our weight. So
Yeah.
for that, fantastic. Legend's difficult though, isn't it? Because then you get into, like I said, people like Ricky Hill and Mick Harford territory, and of course Pelly himself, who I would insist is a club legend. But
Yeah.
that's difficult
Well,
to suppose to compare.
Clark did score that goal at Wembley, but
Yeah, he
club
did, of
legends.
course.
Yeah, that is it cements him in the books. Club legend. There are lots. There are a lot of shoulders to rub. Over like we're in our 140th year at Luton Town, and there are some esteemed players. There are some names. There are so many names. You can check them all out on hattersheritage.co.uk. Shameless plug. It's a registered charity, and what the trustees do, led by the brilliant Roger Wash, is preserve the history. And you can check it all out on the website. There's a stats page where you can see all the appearances, and you can filter down and see how many games have been played against particular teams. And when it comes to icons and legends, you just look at the list of the most appearances on that top appearance list, and the names there, it's crazy. Like I'd say Jordan Clark doesn't even crack the top 30.
No, I
No.
think you're right. I'd probably put him alongside players, a completely different player, so don't compare it on that. But in terms of club status, someone like Danny Hilton, I'd put him alongside someone like Danny Hilton.
I put him way above Danny Hilton personally.
No, I think it's contextual. For me, Danny Hilton epitomised everything about our club at the time and went through. Yeah, it was a lower league and it was from League Two upwards. But come on, he was. Without him, that stuff wouldn't have happened. I think that the fact that he came back in the Championship and couldn't score and everything else, it became a bit of a running, not a running joke, but it was a bit like, oh God, Danny's back on, see if we can score. But that League Two season, he's the reason we got promoted. So
yeah.
anyway, that's that.
True.
Anyways, this shirt as
True.
well. That season. Although this shirt reminds me of Colo at Swansea. I think we wore this shirt on the Boxing Day game that we smashed them. But yeah, there we go. That's probably where
it was a tremendous season. So many footballing memories, and funnily enough, we play Plymouth on Saturday. We're coming full circle because it's been 100 earlier this week. It was 120 years since we moved to Kenilworth Road. Obviously, we're in our 140th year. The club started out at Dallow Lane, and then we got kicked out because the rent was hiked up, and we pitched up at Kenilworth Road 120 years ago, and we opened our doors playing out a 0-0 draw against Plymouth Argyle. Can you believe it? Play Plymouth.
Yeah,
120 years ago. Absolutely mad. And here we are 120 years later, loads of memories. And I'm going to ask Ryman, but I want you all to put on in the comments, get in your best memories at Kenilworth Road. I want the oldest fan here to put in their earliest memory and their best memory. Ryman, what's your earliest memory at Kenilworth Road?
Earliest memory, we've had this conversation, getting hammered by Sheffield United when we it is my earliest memory. I think it's like 6-2 or 6-3. We got relegated. It's the season we got relegated down from what is now the Championship, the old
so 94, 95,
something like that. Yeah, that's right. That would have been my earliest memory. Very, very. I was about 8, I think, and it was lots of goals. I wasn't that worried that we lost at the time either because I was too young. But yeah, certainly too young to sit next and hear some of the language coming out of my dad's mouth during that game as well. But I think that's my earliest memory. Not my favourite though. I thought you could say favourite, and I was like, oh,
okay.
No,
That. So yeah, but my earliest memory is that relegation. I don't remember what game I was at, but I was at the game when relegation was confirmed, and I didn't understand relegation because of my first season going to football. I thought we had to move stadium because I thought like
that'd have been handy.
I didn't understand football at the time. I think I was about 6. In 94, so I was 6. I didn't understand it. Right, best memory.
Okay, do I have to only say one because that's almost impossible, right? Because I think of, in terms of the football on the pitch, there's some things. So in terms of the football on the pitch, I think it's very hard for me to look past the Portsmouth game at home in this division. I know it's a recent one, but I can't remember a time when we have played such amazing football. And the way that we won that game with that George Moncur free kick won't ever be beaten for me. It just won't be. It was absolutely mad. I felt almost into the director's box where I was right at the top of Block C for that game. It was a painful yet joyous experience, a bloody cold one as well. I think as well, I did an article for Walt on this when we were part of that group. But I used to go to football with my dad. I lost my dad in 2010. Lots of the football memories I look back on, I think of those moments of time together. Very young, dad got my mum's permission or not to sneak me out to go and watch Luton Town beat Ipswich in the replay of the Worthington Cup. We went to Portman Road because that was closer to where we were as well. I remember that 4-2 game. That was an incredible game of football as well. So that stands out for me. John Lewis at Valois spanking one in from about 500 yards against Torquay, I think it was. I don't even remember the opposition. I just remember the goal. That whole season was amazing. Yeah, it was
Torquay.
Torquay. Yeah, that whole season, by the way, I think was probably the season I fell in love with Luton
Yeah.
Town under Joe Kinnear, because, as you well remember, Lenny Lawrence, it was pretty turgid, dire stuff. Yeah, so all of those things I mentioned to you earlier, the Dean Morgan free kick against Coventry, just the absolute amazing feeling there as well. And yeah, yeah, so many others, lots of people would, and the Watford, the Derby wins that I've seen, because I've never, probably similar to you, there's not many league games I remember going to where we beat Watford. I remember a couple that we've lost that I'd been to prior to that, but
no, they've always been
sorry, there's a
tight
lot.
affairs. Yeah, they've always been tight affairs. Like the earliest one I went to at Kenilworth Road was like a 0-0. We battered them.
Yeah,
Absolutely battered them. I think that was in 96, 97. The next season, they got bought out by Elton John again. Just went jump. Yeah, never forgive them for that. Yeah, probably one of the best memories was not Southampton. Well, yeah, it was Dean Morgan's goal against Southampton. We were talking about this earlier when you mentioned the free kick. Dean Morgan's goal on his debut, where he just and then bent it in. That was beautiful. The playoff semi-final against Sunderland was incredible. The JPT semi-final against Brighton, that was mad.
I was at the final. I didn't go to the semi.
Yeah. I was at the final as well. That was mad. I think I can't remember the name of the goalkeeper we had, but that was his only appearance for Luton.
Oh, I'm not clear.
Yeah, get it in the comments. Get in the comments.
Yeah,
Tell us. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I could look up a Hatters Heritage and find it out, but I'm not going to do that right now. Some of the comments. Kate, George Moncur, favorite Luton player. Yeah, Moncur with the free kick. Scott Oakes, hell of a player, iconic.
Just missed that West Ham game that you're referring to. Just missed it. I think I was probably just a bit too young, so it's probably the same season, right? Or is it the season before? But I can't remember now. I was talking about, but just missed that. Scott Oakes was my favourite Luton player when I was really young.
So I missed like the Scott Oakes hype train because he was sold just before I started going. I think same with David Priest. I missed out on both of them. Really, I didn't really get to see them. I had Gary Waddock up to my eyeballs though, and I had a lot of Kim Grant,
David Oldfield,
Boncho Genchev, all that.
Oh, Boncho Genchev, what a legend he is!
We're just
getting all nostalgic. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
see, the football under Lenny Lawrence and Terry Wesley was absolutely shit. But that was the era where we were like blooded. It was fantastic. And that's what football is, and Kenilworth Road does. It holds memories. It's magical. It's tremendous.
Yeah, Dave's saying you're making me feel old, lad. Sorry, Dave. Yeah, to be fair though, you know, the one thing, if you're older than us, the one thing
that was 30 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, all right, don't make it worse. I'm trying to help. The one thing that you'll always have over us is you'll have the 80s team that we missed out on, the first David Pleat team that I wish, you know, my dad talked about it all the time. And obviously, you know, my dad, you know, went to the 1959 Cup final with his dad, and so was following it from all the way through and talked about players in the 50s. But we missed out on, you know, the players that I mentioned earlier. And would have absolutely loved to see Ricky Hill play, for example, and some of those players they sort of coming towards the end, wasn't he, in the late 80s or the 80s? So it was much a bit.
He finished in 89. Well, he moved on in 89. It's a funny one. Like at the playoff final, my dad said to me, because the weather was like this, he was like, "Yeah, it was. Do you remember? It was like this in '88." I was like, "I wasn't there in '88."
Yeah,
I was born 2 months later.
I was 2 years old, a ripe old age of 2, but no, I didn't care. Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? You know that will, you know, that era is usually known as kind of the the best football, at least that most people would argue Luton has played, and your Brian Steens of this world, Mick
Paul
Harford
Walker.
playing, oh
No,
my
but we
goodness,
had some
what an
absolutely
incredible player!
sensational
What an incredible
players.
player that is, yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't see, so we saw a bit of Mark Steen, didn't we? But it's not quite as good. Yeah, and we saw Ricky Hill as manager for about 5 minutes as well, but not.
Well, Brian Steen came back in
He
91,
did.
92. He came back. He wasn't the same. He was
Oh, okay.
35. He scored a goal on his 30th appearance, I think.
Yeah.
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 Which was all right. Here we go. We got some good comments here. Trunky 123. West Ham United at home 1980 3-2.
Yeah.
They stormed the league that season. They lost 4 games all season, but we did the double over them. Oh, and my watch is talking to me. I found this on the web. Joy. I got a picture with my brother and the Littlewoods Cup in '88. Still claiming I'm not old though. Fair play. Look, I'm happy there were people that are older than us on this because it's good. It's good. That we got a diverse audience. Chris Lines. Best memory at Kenilworth Road, the 4-0 win over Crewe in 1968 that clinched the 4th division title and signalled Luton's revival after crashing all the way down to the bottom so soon after the 59 Cup final.
Whereas I bet me and Ollie, the only thing we think of when we think of Crewe is playoff semi-final.
The playoff semi-final!
Every time. Miserable. After beating them 6-0 in the league or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Gedi Adefola still haunts my dreams. And Ian Foyer messing it up. Chris, that is a tremendous memory there. Well done, well done. Funnily enough, my dad's first game, and he'll tell anyone, they don't even need to ask. He'll tell everyone. My first game, 1959, the FA Cup final. His dad wasn't into football, but he took him there anyway, which is absolutely tremendous story. But 120 years at Kenilworth Road. The club are having a celebration. Hatters Heritage are going to be there from 12. I'm going to be there from 12 with some fellow trustees who are doing a lot more heavy lifting than me right now because I'm balls deep in my new job. Very busy guy. Can't commit as much as I used to it, but it's still a tremendous cause. And I suggest everyone goes over to Hatters Heritage, hits that donate button, send a bit of cash over to Hatters Heritage because it allows them to keep the lights on, run the website, and buy memorabilia, which is always very helpful. They just bought Eric Morecambe's tracksuit. It's going to be on show at the new museum that's going to be at Power Court, which is a tremendous achievement. Thank God the club have given Hatters Heritage some space, a good space for a museum at the front of the stadium. And hopefully, with it being 120 years, Ryman, hopefully we will, not draw 0-0 with Plymouth like the old days.
Let's repeat another favourite memory of mine, which was the 5-1 scoreline where James Justin scored and Colo scored as well. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
That was a hell of a game. Oh, my words.
Yeah, what a game
tremendous.
That was. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So fingers crossed for that rather than 0-0.
Hopefully. But, just like we did 120 years ago, we're probably going to be playing a 2-1-7 formation. All strikers just lined up top.
I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly like the old days. But if you're down at the grounds, early days, go down and say hello to all of us at Hatters Heritage. It'll be tremendous to say hello. That's where I'll be before the game. And everyone, have a great evening. Cup international break's almost done, right? And most importantly, come on, you Hatters!